City of Lynnwood Land Acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the City of Lynnwood is located on the traditional lands of the Snohomish tribe and the Confederation of Tulalip tribes and their families. For generations, these indigenous communities have lived on this land, and we recognize, support, and advocate alongside them. We also acknowledge the forced removal of indigenous communities from their homelands as a result of the 1855 Treaty of Point Elliott. We understand that land acknowledgements are only the first step in our efforts to support Coast Salish tribes and educate non-natives about their lived history. We strive to achieve this through building relationships with indigenous communities, supporting indigenous commerce, government-to-government partnerships, and lifting indigenous voices to create equity for all. Through these actions, we hope to not only pay respect to the past, but also collaborate in creating a sustainable future, hand in hand with the first protectors of our shared environment.
Not really. The most problematic sentence is the last one, which commits the city to bringing about an equitable society without defining exactly what that entails. Because members of the Tulalip tribes are already welcome to speak at any city council meeting, the sentence must mean something more than just including their voices. Equitable or equity in today's discourse means equal outcomes. What if down the road someone says, Mukilteo committed to making things equitable, and they've been reading this statement every year at city council meetings, so they need to build the tribes a community center that is as nice as Rose Hill. Or Mukilteo committed to making things equitable, so they need to make up the difference between the average annual income of tribal residents as compared to Mukilteo residents. If you do not want to make the city vulnerable to demands such as these, you should not adopt the statement as proposed. Almost every week, we hear of similar demands being made somewhere. I would also be interested to hear whether the city attorney thinks it is in the best interest of the city for the council to approve such a broad, undefined commitment, which is intended to be read annually at official city council meetings, and thus will be understood as official policy, even if it is not actual law. And if someone wants to say my statement isn't good because it's just nice words, but doesn't commit the city to doing something, then we need to have a full and open conversation about what exactly you want the city to do. That should be discussed on its own merits, not be slipped into this statement that's being presented as innocuous when it is not. The council should not approve an open-ended, undefined promise. Thank you.
Peoples. In fact, it is this clause in the entire ending sentence that shows that the writers and approvers have an agenda beyond this statement. I believe they intend this statement to be the first step to a larger agenda, and one that starts the city down a road that is not workable, is not constitutional, and cannot end well. Regardless of what the city attorney says, I think this is a path to somebody trying to make a claim legally that the city is obligated to bring about an equitable existence for the peoples, the tribes. An alternate statement has been proposed by Sharon Damoff, and I recommend that the city adopt it. Or even better, I recommend that the council not adopt any land acknowledgement statement at all. Why are we singling out one group to acknowledge and not the many other groups that live here and have contributed to this community? Thank you.
It's also divisive, and I think it's anti-American to make such a statement. An official statement, by the way, on, you know, who's the first people that was here. We don't really know who's the first people that was here. We know that, you know, this tribe was wiping out that tribe and this tribe wiped out that tribe, so we don't really know who are the first people here. This type of statement opens the city up to, and the taxpayers up to unknown future liabilities and lawsuits possibly.
I'm here to work with you guys, and I appreciate you guys are willing to listen, but I also want to make sure it's not just empty platitudes, because this is what I have heard they're used to. I have also heard many times things are promised. I appreciate 100-fold that you guys are recognizing, and that is the first step. And as, like you said, the land acknowledgement, it's amazing. But I do want to put more action.
And I really want to challenge you. I really want to challenge you to go beyond just the proclamation. How can you truly support the most vulnerable population in your city? How can you ensure that our children can thrive and succeed like all children in Lynnwood and in Snohomish County? So I'm daring you to go outside of the box. I'm daring you to go beyond just a piece of paper and to provide action. How you provide action is support, whether that is through allocated funding, whether that is building relationships amongst us as people, but ultimately keeping your promises.
And I, too, am asking for a little action behind your words. And we dare you to action.